Good evening. No doubt most of you have dealt with the issue of fires in the course of your life. And in the past few months, few weeks in this country, we have seen numerous fire incidents. Domestic fire incidents at work, at schools, and even in the workplace or in the business place. Tonight, we are joined by Brian from Radar Security. How are you?
Okay, sir.
Good to have you.
Thank you so much.
And Brian, from where you sit, how aware are Kenyans about how to deal with fires?
I can say in Kenya, we are not much aware on basic fire safety and how to deal with the fire in case of such emergencies. Today I've
and that's why you're here.
And that's why I'm here.
To teach us about that.
How to use the fire equipment. So today I have various types of fire equipment here, both for commercial, residential, and other institutions that will make your area safe, that will make your area or make your staffs aware of what to do in case of emergency.
In case of emergency.
You're right.
Right, that's going to be the conversation we're going to have tonight on Insight. What to do in case of a fire. All that and so much more after this short break and after the news. But first, the highlights. Suspect accused of murdering his girlfriend in Boston, USA, is still on the run following his escape from Muthaiga police station. Police are holding 4 of their colleagues that were on duty when the incident occurred. Victims of the deadly Kirinyaga liquor blame the police for their woes.
This man is prosecuted with various offenses and he's fined and going back home and continuing his business. Where is the gap in our legal system?
This as human rights organizations demand for accountability.
We are also able to minimize blood loss and therefore also pain consequently. It's a lot of advantage because of magnification. We are using advanced cameras to be able to see inside, and therefore we are able to see organs better.
And the country witnessed a major milestone as KNH doctors performed the first ever laparoscopic kidney transplant that is minimally invasive. Right, that is just a snippet, a glimpse of what we have in store for you this evening in terms of news. We'll take you across the country. We are, of course, TV47, the home of untold stories, and we wish to thank you for choosing us to inform you this evening. My sign language sidekick is none other than Catherine Simaloy. This is her sign, I believe. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. With that out of the way, shall we begin? And just before we begin, I'd like to invite you to take part in this conversation. How, you ask? On X, formerly Twitter, we exist as TV47 News, at TV47. Just search us, you'll find us. My handle is at Muyakane, my name, Muyakane. I'll be happy to respond and engage with you on Twitter. The SMS line is on the screen. The text line is on the screen. Let us know where you're watching us from and any questions you have about the subject for tonight. Shall we begin? Tonight, questions still linger over just how a man awaiting extradition on murder charges for allegedly killing his girlfriend and abandoning her body in a car at a Boston airport in the United States was able to fool the police and escape from custody. According to Nairobi County Commander Adamson Bungei, Kevin Kinyanjui Kang'ethe managed to slip out of Muthaiga police station and board a privately owned minivan. Police have launched a manhunt for the suspect as 4 police officers are grilled over the matter. George Maringa tells us more.
40-year-old Kevin Adam Kinyanjui Kang'ethe is a man wanted by authorities both in Kenya and the United States. He is, however, nowhere to be seen. This is after he escaped from police custody on Wednesday afternoon, leading into the evening. In a report seen by TV47, Kakamega escaped at around 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday in the presence of the station commander, who only heard a commotion as her officers attempted to chase after the fleeing Kakamega. The report says at approximately 4 p.m., a man identifying himself as John Mainandegwa claimed to be Kakamaga's lawyer and requested to speak with him. The officers complied, moving Kakamega to the Anti-Crime Office number 3, leaving him alone with Ndegwa. Shortly afterwards, Kakamega escaped, leaving the lawyer. The Nairobi County Police Commander Adamson Bungei said he is embarrassed over the incident, stating that the officers on duty during the escape have been apprehended for questioning. Kakamega had been detained pending a ruling on whether he should be extradited to face a first-degree murder charge in connection with the death of Margaret Mbitu on October 31st, 2023. Massachusetts State Police had previously indicated that Kakamega left Mbitu's body in a car at Logan International Airport before fleeing to Kenya. He was eventually arrested in a nightclub on January 30th after 3 months on the run. The court approved a police application to detain Kakamega for 30 days while extradition proceedings were underway. On February 2nd, prosecutor Vincent Monda requested the court to endorse the U.S. warrant for Kakamaga's arrest and provide directions for the extradition process. The suspect's lawyer sought directions on surrendering Kakamega to the U.S. while opposing his continued detention, citing concerns about his rights. Chief Magistrate Lucas Onyina was expected to provide further directions on the matter and issue orders related to the bond issue on February 9th. The prosecution said the victim, Mbitu, a healthcare aide in Halifax, was seen leaving work on October 30th and reported missing by her family. The preliminary investigation showed Mbitu had left her workplace and traveled with Kakamega to Lowell, where he lived. Kakamega is yet to be found, even as the main question lingers. How did a murder suspect awaiting extradition to the U.S. escape? George Maringa, TV47, Nairobi.
Right, we shall be keeping tabs on that story and bringing you up to speed as and when we have the latest. Keep it right here. In other news, human rights organizations now want authorities in Kangai in Kirinyaga County to be held responsible for negligence, which they say resulted in the deaths of over 10 people due to the consumption of illicit liquor. Now, with the ongoing efforts to combat the illicit alcohol trade, there is a mounting pressure for stringent measures to be enforced to tackle illegal brewing activities. The spouse of the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, Pastor Dorcas Rigathi, says that it is imperative for the country to enact legislation aimed at eradicating illicit liquor from the society. Sheila Chelangat with more.
In the Kangai area of Mwea, Kirinyaga County, families here are in mourning after the tragic incident claimed the lives of 10 people. Today, human rights organizations criticized local authorities for what they termed as negligence in handling the situation.
Did this man have a permit, business permit? This is squarely in the hands of the county government. Our investigations have shown a mixed sort of response, where the county government has said they have not licensed him, but the man has claimed that he was licensed and had some kind of papers.
Despite the arrest of the prime suspect, John Mureithi, there are allegations that he has been apprehended over 15 times previously for similar offences, only to be released on bail.
If these people are prosecuted, this man is prosecuted with various offences and he's fined and going back home and continuing his business. Where is the gap in our legal system?
These organizations are demanding for accountability from the authorities involved and have pledged to furnish them with a comprehensive report on those culpable. Spouse of the Deputy President, Pastor Dorcas Rigathi, says she will spearhead for tougher measures that will deal with those selling illicit brews, which she has termed as poison.
Registrating very serious laws that will be able to mitigate for this. I'm willing to mobilize and make sure that we are not losing our men.
The main suspect will remain in police custody for 21 days while probe into the matter continues. Sheila Chelangat for TV47.
Now, the government has reaffirmed its position on the directive requiring parents to pay school fees through the e-Citizen platform. According to government spokesperson Isaac Mwara, this will ensure transparent record keeping, and this move has sparked varied responses from stakeholders in the education sector, including lawmakers who have voiced their opposition, with majority saying that this will disadvantage parents from poor backgrounds, especially those who are illiterate. Paul Kirobi with the details.
Government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura's statement has sparked debate among education stakeholders regarding whether parents will be required to pay school fees via the e-Citizen platform. Mwaura believes that implementing the system will enable the government to maintain clear records of school fees payments each term.
Hilo sio jambo ambalo tunafaa kuwa tunalifikiria hata kidogo. La hasha. Watu lazima walipe kupitia e-Citizen. Na wale makatela ambao wanakimbia, wanakwenda kotini kupata order, hatutachoka. Kwa sababu tukishakuwa na single treasury account moja hivi, na pia watu walipe kupitia mfumo wa 222, serikali itajua ni pesa ngapi zinaingia kila siku.
However, parents who offer alternative arrangements for school fees, such as providing maize, beans or firewood for school fees, are worried a lot. Matungu lawmaker Peter Nabulindo has strongly opposed the government's directive, stating that the program will disadvantage parents who utilize such arrangements for fee payment.
98% of my voters hawana simu, leave alone smartphone. Hawana ile simu hata ile ya mulika mwizi.
Similarly, Matungulu MP Steve Mule criticized the government for overlooking the fact that many parents across the country are unemployed, which will make it difficult for them to comply with the new payment.
Hapa Nguluni imejengea hawa wazazi shule. Kuko na headmaster. Kuna mzazi ambaye hana payslip, anachukua kondoo yake anapelekea administrator hapa. Hiyo kondoo itaingia e-Citizen namna gani?
The High Court has suspended the circular issued by Education PS Bilio Kipsang, which mandated parents to pay school fees through the e-Citizen platform. However, President William Ruto insists the e-Citizen directive is unstoppable, saying it will weed out corruption cartels. Paul Kirobi, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, how about some good news? Well, good people, a significant medical achievement has been reached at the Kenyatta National Hospital with the successful completion of a laparoscopic kidney donation surgery. This advanced procedure, characterized by minimal incisions, leads to reduced blood loss and post-operative discomfort. And as Elizabeth Atieno now reports, Kenyans have been urged to embrace posthumous organ donation, where the dead can donate their organs in order to save the living.
Dixon Dekay was the first to lie on the operating table for the laparoscopic surgery at Kenyatta National Hospital as he sought to donate his kidney to his brother Njoroge, who was diagnosed with kidney failure on the 21st of April 2023. Following the successful surgery, Dixon swiftly recovered and was discharged merely 2 days later, testament to the minimally invasive nature of the procedure.
So nikaona si ati ni kitu kubwa. Obviously kuna shimo kama mbili na ingine moja kubwa kidogo, mbili za inchi moja na ingine at least iko na inchi kama 3. Si ati ni kitu kubwa.
Dr. Paul Njogu, a surgeon at Kenyatta National Hospital, provides valuable insights into the advancements of the laparoscopy surgery, emphasizing its efficacy and benefits.
And by so doing, you minimize scarring the patient. You're also able to minimize blood loss and therefore also pain consequently. It's a lot of advantage because of magnification. We are using advanced cameras to be able to see inside. And therefore, we are able to see organs better and even take precautions.
When we do the open surgery, we divide the muscles into two. So you can imagine the amount of pain the patient gets, and they have to be in the hospital for another 7 days. But now they can feed within 24 hours.
Njoroge, who is currently recuperating from the transplant performed on the 30th of January 2024, advocates for kidney transplant as a more economical alternative for the 7,000 Kenyans undergoing dialysis.
Saa zingine unaenda inakataa, catheter ina block. Unajua sasa catheter bado, it is expensive to put a catheter.
The longer the dialysis, the poorer the quality of the transplant. So we would encourage patients to have their transplants much earlier.
The National Health Insurance Fund spends 3 billion Kenya shillings on dialysis every year, which is equivalent to approximately 450,000 per patient. The anti-rejection medicine costs about 300,000 Kenya shillings. Such expenses can be overwhelming for people grappling with kidney disease.
But we trust that the medications for our patients will be, hopefully, free.
Additionally, Kenyans have been urged to embrace posthumous organ donation, where the dead can donate their organ in order to save lives, as medics raise concerns on the shortage of donors in the country.
There is a very deliberate effort going towards expanding the scope of donors available to our public to include deceased organs. However, you will realize and agree with me that that requires very careful regulation.
The Kenyan law states that an adult can only donate a kidney and not sell it to a willing buyer. Violators of this law face severe penalties, including fines up to 10 million Kenya shillings or a maximum 10-year prison sentence. A call has been made to the government to cover for transplant medication in the new Social Health Insurance Fund so as to ease the financial burden incurred by those with kidney disease. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47 from Kenyatta National Hospital, Nairobi.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for that very comprehensive and insightful report. Now, the chairperson of the Council of Governors Finance Committee, Fernandez Barasa, who is a governor for Kakamega, has now urged counties to develop strategies for enhancing their own revenue streams. This is to alleviate pressure on the national government amid ongoing dispute over funds disbursement to devolved units. Addressing officials in Kakamega County, Governor Barasa highlighted the challenges faced by counties, notably the substantial debt inherited, which have hindered their ability to meet payroll obligations. Barasa said that the national government will cease maintenance of medical equipment, with counties assuming responsibility for the upkeep of this medical equipment starting April.
Let us do what we need to do. Let us enhance areas which can give us more revenue. And then at the end of the day, I'm very sure we are going to have a county that is sustainable. We are struggling with the wage bill. We came around when it was 42%. Right now we are moving almost to 45%, of course, operationally. We cannot every month be spending over 70% of our revenues on staff emoluments. It is not sustainable. And that is why this is the only way. From the next financial, in fact, not even next financial year, from April, we are now getting on board medical equipment which was being serviced by the national government. It is now going to be an additional bill to us, almost 300 to 400 million extra that was not in our budget. We can only survive by doing things anew.
Now, the 6th session of the United Nations Environment Assembly, that is UNEA 6, will take place from 26th of February to 1st of March at the United Nations Environment Programme, that is UNEP headquarters in Nairobi, Kenya. The assembly will be preceded by the 6th meeting of the Open-Ended Committee of Permanent Representatives, which will help lay the groundwork for the assembly from 19th to 23rd of February. Ahead of the Assembly, the UN Environment Programme, together with the Government of Kenya, held a special in-person press conference to turn the spotlight on environmental multilateralism, as well as key issues up for discussion at the UNEA 6. Inger Anderson, Executive Director of the UN Environment Programme, Soipan Tuya, the Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, as well as Radhika Ochelik, Director of Governance Affairs at the UN Environment Programme, underscored the key issues up for discussion come the end of this month. Over 5,000 delegates are expected to attend UNEA 6.
As we prepare for the Assembly, it's clear that the world has no longer a to-do list, but a must-do list when it comes to the environment. This is a must-do list that the UNEP calls on to tackle what we refer to as a triple planetary crisis: the crisis of climate change, the crisis of nature, biodiversity and desertification, nature and biodiversity loss and desertification, and the crisis of pollution and waste. And these crises are disproportionately affecting the global south and especially the African continent, including Kenya. The impacts here are here now, and they are growing. Last year was the hottest record year that we know, bringing more intense storms, more droughts, more flooding, more wildfires.
Last week, we just finished a public participation meeting, and we are at the tail end of finalizing our regulations to back our Climate Change Act. We are reviewing our Environmental Management and Coordination Act. We have just set up the designated national authority, putting in place structures for the carbon markets registries. We are working on our Forest Management and Coordination Act, again, to ensure that we capitalize on our nature-based solutions to the climate crisis action that we need to see. We are accelerating the transformation of our linear waste management system into a circular economy, and among a raft of activities that we are working on is to set up demonstration material recovery facilities across the country in order to make this big leap from linear waste management to circularity.
Now, more good news to power consumers, beg your pardon. The government has announced that the cost of electricity is set to go down by 3 shillings and 44 cents across all consumers. According to the Ministry of Energy, the changes have been occasioned by a significant drop in the foreign exchange adjustment rate. Further, prepaid users will see the change starting midnight, while postpay users will pay less at the end of February. Now, welcome back. 2 additional undersea fiber optic cables have been delivered to the country. These are aimed at bolstering broadband internet connectivity. Furthermore, 6 other international broadband cables have already been installed to facilitate last-mile connectivity in remote areas nationwide. Principal Secretary John Tanui says that these initiatives target the reduction of internet costs across the nation, thereby stimulating employment opportunities within the digital sector. He says that once all submarine cables are operational, the government will improve service delivery and cultivate innovation.
This is a space we as a country needs to grow and encourage participation of many. Our mobile network operators are also looking at putting in place programs that the device, that's the phone, should not be a limitation to anyone who wants to enjoy the benefits of the digital economy. We aim to increase the current broadband connectivity from about 1.2 currently to to add another 2 million in the short run, and in the long run, achieve 8.5 million home connections.
President William Ruto and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida have prioritized research and development funding and support, as indicated by their recent agreement. President Ruto has encouraged Japanese companies to invest in Kenya's manufacturing, agriculture, and technology industries. He emphasized that the collaboration between the two nations in key sectors will focus on enhancing existing value chains, with particular attention to maximizing benefits for small and medium enterprises through these global partnerships.
We are investing $5 billion every year in the education, training of those young people. The workforce of the future is in our continent.
Kenya has very strong relations with Japan that support investments and business. And number 4, a logistics hub. We have seen, even from other presenters, very accessible with airports. We have ports of entry. We are home